Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We are so excited that you are here, that you're tuning in. Today, we have a wonderful, wonderful episode that we're going to talk about. Today, we are going to talk about new mom challenges. And just so everybody knows, we're bilingual. So sometimes we'll go in English, we'll go Spanish, English. We might invent a couple of words, but just hang in there. And we're thankful that you are here. So today, like I said, we're going to be in this podcast. First of all, welcome to everybody listening again. This is another episode of Maria and Friends, and we are so happy you're here. We're so excited. So, um, we have with us someone that is very near and special to my heart. And you know what? Let me take a moment here because this is live. So, oops, there you go. This is live. So, I forgot to get us together with everybody on TikTok. So, give me a moment while we put this. There we go. All right, we're getting on TikTok. So, there we go. So, I just want to thank everybody again. Hello, hello, everybody from TikTok. We are so glad you are here joining us as well. So, with us, we have Maya. Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited. She said yes. You know how there's a show that says yes to the dress, right? She
Yes.
said yes to the podcast. She said yes to the podcast. Because sometimes people, it takes them a minute for me to convince them. Hey, Ulises. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us and showing support. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So sometimes people don't want to come in because they're shy, and so it takes me a little bit of coaching and come on, it'll be okay. And she finally said yes to the dress. I mean, to the dress. She said yes to the podcast. So I want her to say hello, tell us a little bit about herself, and for those of you who don't know, she is my niece. She is she is my niece. And I tell her she is my favorite niece. And she goes, "Ay, tia, I'm your only niece." And well, that's true though, but you're still my favorite.
Good to know.
So Maya, you want to say hi? Tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start there before we go into the questioning and stuff.
Yeah, so obviously my name's Maya, Maya Estrella. I am 24 years old. I have a husband, a loving husband,
Ah,
Angel, and a beautiful baby daughter, Angela, 9 months old now. So
9 months.
9 months.
But you just had her.
Feels like yesterday I just had her.
9 months. I mean 9 months. I mean 5 months. You said that is
nine
crazy.
9 months.
9. I thought you said okay. All right. All right. So 9 months.
Yeah.
I remember I was just there a couple of months ago and I was holding her and I have pictures of her here and I bet she is a ball of energy right now.
Oh my gosh. She's in that stage where you constantly have to entertain her 24/7, and it's an all day thing, but I love it. I love enter- the chaos of it all.
Sometimes I always say we need to bottle up that energy. If we could bottle up that energy that kids have, oh my God, and sell it, we
Oh
can win it. Oh, Darlene, saludos, saludos, Darlene. Dios te bendiga. Gracias por tu apoyo, Darlene. She's an amazing. All of you, Darlene, Ulises, they're commenting. They have podcasts. You all need to go listen to them. They're amazing podcasters. So if you see their name, let me put Ulises Vargas, look him up. He has a podcast, and Darlene too. She has a podcast, and we also have Miss Rose. Hello, Miss Rose. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. So we're talking again for those of you that are just joining us about being a new mom. So, first questions: did you expect to be a mom?
not I did and I didn't, you know, and it's it's almost like I have no words. Like I did not expect to see myself as a mom, but it's just a crazy roller coaster.
What is the first? What was the first challenge, or what things that you came across, or challenges that you faced when becoming a new mom?
I want to say the first challenges definitely was the unknown because you don't know if they're, since they can't communicate and you're so used to using your words and everything. And the first challenges were first obviously the labor and everything like that. That and it's is
How
it
was your labor?
it was 16 hours of just laboring and laboring, all natural, until I got so exhausted. And thank goodness for the midwives, because without them I don't think I mentally I would have, made it through. But
But that's very interesting that you chose to do midwife stuff.
yes, I
Tell me
did.
about that. What made you choose to go through? First of all, midwife. That sounds like so old fashioned. But what made you do that?
Because I loved the way my mom described her labor, and
Oh,
she
yes,
had,
you did.
and I wanted that. And I'm like, and I've always been kind of um I don't know, I just never liked being at hospitals. And so this facility is, you're literally in a room, and they make it comforting. They have dim lights, they put music, they decorate it, and the midwives are there, just to support you, to talk with you, to hold you, to hold, brush your hair. And I'm like,
Really?
and I'm like,
But do they know medicine? They know medicine, right?
they know medicine, but there's no epidural in the building that I was going to give birth in. So it's mainly just, I think they did have laughing gas. That's the one
Okay.
thing that they have, but it's all natural. All natural. It's just you, the midwife, and whoever you want in the room. And oh
Really?
gosh,
Was Angel in the room?
yes, he was in the.
Angel was in there. How did he do?
Well, all I can remember, I was in and out mentally. I was just in and out.
Well, 16 hours. 16 hours is too much. No much.
I know. And all I remember is Angel. I was breathing, the exercise
Uh-huh.
give, and all I can hear is Angel's. And I turn around, and I'm birth to our baby, and I'm like, blow your nose. That's all I could hear in my ear. I'm like, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy. And he would not blow his nose. And I'm like, what's wrong? Why can't you blow your nose and get it over with instead of like, pero that's all I remember. That's,
But was he didn't want to leave you. Is that what happened?
I think so. I think he wanted to be there with me and stay there. But I'm like, leave, go blow your nose, and then come back. Like, don't come back if you still have a.
Is is you still have mocos?
Yes, yes. So,
Oh my god, that is so funny. So who else was he was there, and
mhm.
who else? Angel was there, your husband, and who else was there?
And my mom,
Oh
and
wow.
had to, like, she is amazing, amazing. Yeah. So
Oh wow. And did they have music? Oh, well, tell me what happened. Did you finish? Because it's my understanding that at one point you did go to the hospital.
yes.
Okay, you wanted to tell me what happened. What was the transition?
So 16 hours go by. They're checking me, and I was to the point where I was telling them, you know what, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I can't. And I was crying, obviously, because mentally, physically, my body could not do it anymore.
Were you out of pain?
I was in so much pain. There was no position that could relieve any of the pain that I was feeling. So I told my midwife, I'm like, you know what? I am sorry. Like, I need the epidural. Like, I need it. And I'm tired. So they were like, can we check you before we go? Because they're really towards, they don't never force you to do anything or make
Okay.
a decision, but they checked me, and I still wasn't, um, I was 7 centimeters still. So they were like, you know what? Yeah, it's a good call for you to go to the hospital. So I went in the ambulance, and they took me to the hospital. I got the epidural. Oh my gosh, I cried of tears of joy when they gave me the,
Really?
because it obviously takes a minute, but finally the pain went away after 16 hours of
16 hours.
constant pain, every 2 minutes, every minute. It was exhausting. But yeah, once we went to the hospital, it was very, like, smooth sailing. There's even a picture of me with a popsicle smiling. So I was just um but yeah, and I was able to push her out. And well, yeah, and they told me, they're like, okay, well, we're ready to push now. And oh my gosh, it was such a, like, sometimes I have no words because it's just you're in the moment, you're in and out, really, like you're in and out of those moments, especially 16 hours, and then on top of that we went to the hospital. And but yeah, but all worth it though, all worth it.
When the baby comes out, what was your first reaction? Did because I, for those of us who have had babies, once the baby comes out, you feel it. It's out. You feel it. I remember that my thought was to tell their father, "Go check the hands, go check the feet." I don't know why. I was like, "Go check the hands, make sure the hands are there, make sure." I don't know why it's so weird. It's just like, "Go check," and he's like, "Okay, I boy," and he was like checking, and then he turns around and he said, "They're fine. He has all 10."
Oh my God. No,
So
totally. But I did not ask for the fingers because even in the ultrasound, I was counting the fingers and I was like,
I
thank
have.
you. So I knew beforehand she had all 10 fingers, all 10 toes. But it was funny because when she came out, I previously, before having a baby, I knew that some babies come out with the cone heads
Oh
because they
yeah.
are stuck, for a little bit of time, and it's totally normal. It goes away. It's totally normal. So she came out. I have her on my chest, and my first thought was like, "Oh my goodness!" I was in shock. I was like, "This was inside me. This baby was inside me," and I have her on my chest, and it's like such a surreal moment. And you can tell Angel got a little bit quiet because as soon as she came out, because he saw her head
Uh-huh.
and thought something was wrong because he has never heard about a cone, the cone head of the baby. So he's here like, and I feel like the nurse saw his reaction, and the nurse was like, "Hey, it's totally normal. It's gonna fade away within a couple of days. Just give it time. It's totally normal." He's like, "Oh, okay." And you can tell from there, that's when he was, "Oh my gosh, her baby." And but yeah, when she was still attached, like the umbilical cord was still attached
Oh,
when
they didn't. Who cut it? I mean, the.
um, Angel cut it,
Uh-huh.
but he
Did,
had the umbilical cord attached for an hour after I gave birth.
oh, did they tell you why, or is this part of their
Um,
routine?
it was no, since I was with the midwives, they encourage that because when you leave the umbilical cord attached longer, the umbilical cord still has nutrients that the baby will benefit from if you leave them a little bit longer attached to him.
Okay, okay, so
So
that makes sense. Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You see, you learn something every day. Look at that. I'm not gonna
yeah,
have any baby time, any baby anytime soon or
for
anything like
sure.
that. But I'll save it for my daughter-in-law when they're
Yes.
having babies. But so that moment is a moment that when the baby obviously you start changing your feelings about becoming a mother and being responsible for someone else in your life. Once you know you're pregnant and you see the belly growing, but
Mhm.
there's something when you actually physically see the baby, and then now you understand that that baby depends on you for everything. Tell me about that moment. Did you say, well, I know you said that you felt her in your chest and you're like, but how was that moment for you?
Honestly, for me, I was in shock still. As they put her on my chest, and I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness," and I did, after a while, after like, okay, she's born, she's on my chest. And after, once I heard her cry, that was when I was like, "Oh my goodness." And right away when I heard her cry, my instincts like, "What's wrong? What does she need? What can I give her? What, to stop the crying?" And just, I felt like it was a light switch. A light switch just turned on, and it was like, okay, mom mode. Like, I don't know, it's just like a instinct that I never knew was there until I heard her cry, honestly. So it was just, it's crazy to think that, this tiny little human being depends on you. You're the one nurturing her, how she's going to be raised, and it's just a whirlwind of responsibility. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be her mother, like, I'm glad, she's mine. It's crazy. It's
And,
just,
and how was Angel doing with all of this?
Oh my goodness, he was the best support, the best I give full respect to him because he was always there. He was giving me water. He was checking on me. He was like, "Are you okay? How are you doing?" Constantly, constantly, constantly. Just feeding me things, giving me water. Labor, but after labor, he was definitely. He's always wanted kids. So this moment finally came for him, and he was like, he was just in the clouds. And
Oh, he was very hands on.
yes, very hands on.
And I hear that he wanted a girl, right? He had wanted a girl or a boy.
Yes, he wanted a girl, but
Oh.
yeah, but in the back of his head, he's like, I want a boy because to deal with, the boyfriends and,
Oh.
I- I'm scared. He's like, oh, but a girl, there's delicate, petite and stuff. But yeah, but he definitely wanted a girl. He's always wanted a little sister. So I feel like God was like, okay, I'll give you a daughter.
So that moment happens and you go home. Was there preparation for the baby before you got there? Was there adjustments that you need to make? How, when you went home, how did you make your home different for the arrival of this baby? How did that change?
Well, it was crazy because I've always, had my room a certain way. I like things a certain way in my room, and I totally like that went out the door. The aesthetic of the room, know, out the door. There's just a dresser, pink stuff, and just baby things, and so we were prepared with everything, the changing station, the crib, the blankets, the onesies, the clothes, the bottles, which I've never had bottles. I've never, before Angela, my baby, I've never changed a diaper. So
who
it was totally new. It was,
who oh, wait, who taught you? What is going, what happened? Where's Martha dropped the ball? What happened there?
I know. Yeah, I've never, even Angel's changed a diaper, but I personally have never changed a diaper up until I had my baby.
Really? So who
Mhm.
taught you? Angel taught you or Marta?
No, I just thought, I knew like, I
The
knew
concept?
it, like I was like, okay, well, this obviously goes here. And I honestly figured it out by myself because had an idea. So, it's pretty simple to change a diaper. It's not nothing special.
So and then so tell me more about the changes that you had to make in your home for the baby.
Yeah, so the main thing was just really my room because we knew she was going to sleep in our room for a little bit before we switch her over to her nursery. And really the changes were that, there's a crib, there's everything I needed was in my room. And also one thing that I didn't even think about was the thermostat that Angel, my husband, he loves having the house so cold. And I'm okay with it because I can put on layers, and that's fine. But having a baby, it's like, okay, well, we need it warm, she's a newborn, so we cranked up the heater, um and we even got like a humidifier, air filter, and just everything for this our baby to be in the best
Environment.
the environment. Yeah, yeah.
How does let's talk about the relationship between you and Angel, going from dating to husband and wife and now to having this baby. Because all we're talking right now is a lot of good stuff, all the happy stuff, all the stuff, all the wonderful stuff that comes with having a baby. It's great, it's beautiful, this and the baby's, oh, it makes you feel alive and all these blessings. But let's talk about the other stuff. Like how does the dynamic change between, because it's not just you and Angel anymore. You and Angel now is you, Angel, and a baby. So
Yes.
now he has to take the back seat. And how are you maneuvering all that? How is that?
Yeah, so it definitely changed. There definitely was a change, like, and I like to call it, like, I've heard of like the roommate stage where it's like you're just living together, you're just coming home, eating, you're together, but you're not really together. And And I want to say that that definitely was a stage with me and Angel, you know, like we obviously still love each other, but
Oh
there were
yeah,
days where, and even weeks where, especially in the beginning, because I'm like, oh my gosh, don't even touch me, don't even look at me,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, because your body goes through so much, you're mentally and physically, your body and your mind go through so much that you're drained and you're giving everything to your baby. So there's hardly anything to give to your husband or even to, you know, to another person, but mainly to your partner. So that's kind of where in the beginning it was like that. Like I was giving everything, everything to Angela, all my time, all my effort. And when I needed a second, it would be by myself, you know, like, okay, let me just, I need my alone time. And Angel, you know, he would just be, I wouldn't give him any time, if that makes sense. But after, you know, and especially with a newborn, I feel like I didn't have a rhythm yet. I didn't have like a little routine going on. So I was just really like living day by day, seeing, you know, what works, what doesn't. But obviously, after the time, it got way better and it grew our relationship, and it's way better.
Was
It's
did it help you that he was so patient with you and so he gave you your space? Did that help you a lot?
Oh my gosh, yes, he's the most patient, understanding person. Especially I feel like he really understood, because even while I was pregnant, I would tell him what everything, all these, you know, mothers would go through postpartum. And you know, so I also feel like I informed I informed him a lot, like I engraved
Yeah,
it in his head that every woman is different, and whether, you know, we all cope different. And so
absolutely.
it's like I don't know how I'm gonna react after having a baby, you know. So he was very patient in that aspect. Like, okay, she just had a baby,
Yeah.
she get like, you know, situated and stuff like that. So I think he was very. I mean, I'm so blessed that he's patient. He's very very patient.
And for those of you who don't know it, Maya lives in a wonderful little farm, I call it. She has horses and she has chickens and she has dogs, and that's a great environment. But in that little village of yours, how important it is for people to show you support, like your mom and Angel's family, and how did that help you? You know, how important was it to you that people supported you?
Oh my, it was. I'd say like the main reason why I did pretty good for the most part, because one, I had angel support, and I also had my mom support. And not only that, but my suegros, oh my goodness, like my suegra would cook some meals and she would send them over, you know, those little things that you wouldn't have thought about before are just like, how are you going to have time to cook if you have this newborn, or how are you going to have time to shower if you have, you know, a baby. And I feel like they, you know, my suegra has had three children, my mom, three children, and they know, you know, what it's like. So I feel like having their support, and, you know, and especially my mom, anytime, you know, I would feel like she knows me the best. So she
Yeah.
me like a book, and she was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you know? She's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, she reads me like a book. So having that as well is amazing, because sometimes you don't want to speak out, or you
Yeah.
don't say like, I'm feeling this way. And but then there's your mom. So she knows you so well, you know, she knows me so well. So whenever she would see an expression or something that I did, that's like,
Yeah.
okay, something's up. And that really helps, because I'm the type of person that will not tell anybody. Like, you have to drag me out of there before I even tell you. So my mom dragged me out of there. And um,
So tell me now that you have this baby, you're home and everything's going well. Tell me about how you dealt with the what happened next with after having a baby, the adjustment, everything dwindling down, and you need to find yourself and who you are. How was that process? What were you going through? What were you thinking? How because I want you talked about all the stuff that you were going through after that, after all the happy joys, there was a period of time that you said, you know what, I need some help here.
yes. So after I had Angela, it was kind of like right when I felt like steady, like I had a routine, but I could feel mentally that I was going down and down and down. And mentally, from the outside, I was like fine. I got my house together. The house was clean, and slowly but surely, and it's crazy because surely but slowly, I stopped, cleaning my room, cleaning the kitchen. And it's those small details that,
Mm,
mental state, and my mom started noticing that, that I wouldn't even get dressed, or I
yeah.
wouldn't want to be outside, and just doing the bare minimum just for Angela and for me, the bare minimum. I wasn't just really, my environment wasn't clean when usually I need my environment to be clean, because a clean environment is a clean space for me, a clean head for me. So it started off like that, and slowly but surely, I don't know if you wanted me to talk about.
Yeah, talk about it because
Oh,
that's one of the main things because I want people to know and it'll help people that think that sometimes even when you have everything perfect, that
mhm,
even when everything is good, even when you have the support you need, the great husband that you have, your little ranch, you have everything in your life is perfect, mental health is still a thing.
yes,
That change from going from single and this and that and then going into motherhood and all that change wears your body, wears, and even if you have everything perfect, you still can be at that mental stage. And that's what I want you to talk about because we for those of you listening, it gets better. But let's talk about that moment when, like you said, gradually without you even noticing, little by little things change and you were tired or you didn't finish this, or talk about that and then we'll talk about how you got out of that. But yeah,
okay,
because it's real. I mean, let's unfold
yeah,
it because some people think that it's not real, it's not a real thing, but it is. It absolutely is.
yeah. And honestly, and it's crazy how God works, but honestly, before I got pregnant, I've never dealt with anxiety. I've never dealt with depression. I've never dealt with any mental health issues at all. But postpartum, so that's when I started dealing with it. And before, I always questioned the people who did. And I'm like, well, what do they feel? Or what do they,
Yeah.
can't they just, go outside and, being bang and that's done, like do something to make you happy. No, that was, you know God was like, let me show you. No.
Wow.
So after I got into the rhythm, and slowly but surely, my things, my environment wasn't the same. I stopped doing certain things, getting ready, cleaning the kitchen, doing, so everything was a mess. My house was a mess, and I would do the bare minimum just to survive that day. And with a healthy baby daughter, with a loving husband, my mental health was plummeting. And it was, to the point where I even had suicidal thoughts. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And because I was thinking, well, like, I'm never going to get my body back. I'm never going to get, this back, my life and stuff. And when would I have time? So all those negative thoughts, all those negative things that you think of, they become your life. Like, the more you think about the negative things, the more you think about, it was just consuming me. And the main part was definitely, just not recognizing myself. And I would, you know I gave everything to I'm giving everything to my baby, and I don't have, like, enough for myself. So I remember a specific day where I that was the first day where I had a suicidal thought. And I remember putting Angela down for a nap and just going and crying in the bathroom. And at that moment, I felt so alone. And it was just, I felt like I was at my bottom, mentally, physically, because there was days where I didn't even want to eat. And just all those emotions, not nothing is filling that void, nothing. So you go towards other thoughts, and I just remember, and I'm like, I didn't recognize myself because I've never thought about suicidal thoughts. I've never thought about, and I truly believe I was depressed, especially because of my environment and how my thinking was. It was always so, just nothing could make me happy. Nothing was making me happy until my mom
Wow.
my mom started noticing, and there was a point where even my body was shutting down because of what I was eating. I was just indulging, and obviously, when you're postpartum, you have to eat a good,
Yeah.
because your body just went through a whole thing. So I wasn't even doing that, and I had some health issue that I couldn't even walk for like 2 days. And that was when I feel like I was at my lowest, because I had suicidal thoughts again. And I remember reading or writing a paragraph in my journal, and just, and I think I've sent you
Yes.
picture of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
I remember writing in that journal, and it was almost like, this
You
is
were
it.
saying goodbye. What I read, it was like that was just like you were talking the feelings that you had at the moment,
Hmm.
but it was almost, it didn't even almost sound like you. Like I couldn't recognize you through the words. And I was like, this is not Maya. But it didn't, it sounded like I'm not the sounded, but it was reading like you were saying goodbye, like this is it. Like it was just so unlike you. Like nothing I've ever I mean, I've known you all your life.
Yeah.
It was nothing you did. Wow, that was something to be at that point that people don't understand unless you're going through, unless you felt it. It's really deep. It goes deep.
Yes. And I remember writing that because it was, uh I felt so numb, so numb, and I felt like I was on autopilot.
Wow.
Like I put my spirit, my soul aside, and I was on autopilot. That's literally how I felt. I felt numb. I didn't feel anything, sadness, happiness, nothing. So that was when I wrote that. And I just remember my mom saying, no, we're gonna take you, to, for the doctors to get your health, and to check you up. And she's like, I don't like the way you look, I don't like it at all. So again, I tell you, she dragged me. I wasn't saying anything, I didn't say anything, I didn't speak up, but she was like, no, we're going. So that's when we went to El Paso. But before then, man, so many things were happening.
Yeah, I want you to share because it is crazy what happened to her. I mean, it's just crazy because what happens is that her mom, which is my sister, she said, "We're gonna go to El Paso. We're gonna go see the doctor over there, and we're gonna go get some medical attention and for the condition she was having at that moment, and also we're just gonna go over there and figure out some things." But I want you to say all oh my god, that is so crazy. All the things that happen right before you decide to leave Colorado and come over here and see the doctor.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
It's so crazy. Like,
I'm like, where do we begin? So so that day that we were gonna leave, um, first Angel comes home a little bit late than usual. So we're like, okay, because our plan was, as soon as my husband comes home, the Angel comes home, we have everything packed. Everything was packed and ready to go. That way he comes home, showers, change, and then we leave. And it was like around 5 or 6 around that time, and it's already dark and everything. So I have everything packed, and Angel comes home, and I'm getting ready. I'm getting Angela ready in the car seat. And he goes, did you not see the tree on the side of the house? And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, what tree? And he goes, there's a tree on the side of the house that's on the house. So apparently it was, so the winds that day were so strong. It knocked a tree. I want to say it was, I mean, as tall as a tree is, the trees are pretty tall. And from the roots,
wow.
and it fell on top of on the side of the house. And I'm like, where? And you would see everyone else's trees perfectly fine, twigs perfectly fine. And for some reason, the our tree, it got knocked off from the roots. And I even took pictures because we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe like winds. We've never experienced anything like that. So we're like, okay. So here we are calling the insurance. We're like, okay, we can't leave now. So we're calling the insurance. Our neighbor Carla, bless her heart, she came over to help us with the branches to at least cut the tree down so the weight wouldn't, damage the roof. So, and by this time it's probably like 8 o'clock, because it was a huge tree and a lot of branches. So finally we get the tree situated, and we call the insurance. And so yeah, we're ready to leave, but then we haven't eaten, so we got pizza, we ate, and we're in the car. So before we left, I told everybody, okay, everybody has their keys, their wallets, their phone, their purse, everything. I repeat it again. Okay, everybody, before we leave, make sure you have your purse, everything, everything. Everybody has everything. So we go outside, and we get in my mom's car, and we already have all our maletas. And so Angel goes, "Oh, did you get my cap?" And I was like, "Oh, babe, I forgot to pack your cap." And he goes, "Okay, well, let me just go inside the house. Just give me the keys." And so I go look for my purse, and my purse is inside the house. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And keep in mind, Angel never closes all of the windows, all of the doors. He always leaves one
Yeah.
unlocked. But this time he closes all of the windows, all of the doors, everything is shut. Everything is locked. So there's no way to go inside the house. So
Oh
we're like,
my.
so we had to drive all the way like 20 minutes to my suegro's house to get an extra key and come all the way back.
Wow.
It's probably like 10 o'clock at night about this time. And part of me is like, is this a sign not to go? Part of me, I was very, very anxious to begin with. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this a sign that I shouldn't even go to El Paso? Like, what if there's gonna
Yeah.
be, it was so like I was so anxious. I was so anxious. So we went to my suegro's house, and we went back. And so we open the house, he gets my purse, we get the keys, and yeah, we're out the door. We finally pass the gate. We make it to the stop sign, and Angel goes, "Oh my gosh, wait, my earrings, his gauges." So we go all the way. So it was just so we go all the way back, get his gauges, and then he goes back, and finally we're on the road. And oh my goodness, it
Did you
was
think did you ever say, "Okay, that's it. I'm not going. I'm not going. This is not gonna happen."
I told my mom, I was like, is this a sign that we shouldn't go? Is this a sign that we shouldn't? Because I'm like taking it as a sign, because there's multiple things that are just, it's, it's almost making it impossible to just pass this stop sign from our house. And, but my mom was like, no, let's just go. And we're already here. We're already past.
Okay, I think we lost her there. Just give her a few minutes there. Wow. What an amazing story. All right, we're gonna give her a couple of minutes here. Okay. She has an amazing story. We're just gonna see if she comes back. There you go. You're back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. All right, let's see. Okay, hold on. Talk. You want to try talking? You We're gonna go ahead and if you can go ahead and log back in. She has an amazing testimony. She has an amazing story that we need to hear. So it is crazy that right at the middle of the story that this happens. So log back in and we'll try. Okay. So yeah, just stay tuned so you can hear exactly what happened and how she overcame this because it's really real. And that's one of the things that I wanted to her to share her story because when she has a baby, after that, she goes into this deep, deep depression. So we're gonna try to see if we can get her back on.
Okay.
Can you hear you? Perfect.
Okay. Yay.
I was just saying, oh my God, when you're getting to, you see what it happens?
Yes.
Because we need to talk about this testimony. And
Yes.
this is what it's like, wow, right at the part where it gets really good.
I know.
So tell us, so then what happens? Yes. Oh, this is crazy.
Okay. So yeah, we're finally, headed towards El Paso. We're driving to El
Okay, hold on.
Paso.
Let me get everybody on together here because we even lost. It went crazy. Look, even on TikTok, we lost people.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
there we go. Even on hey, we're back, everybody on TikTok. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll continue. Even on TikTok, the signal went down.
Oh my God.
Crazy, but anyway, whoever sticks around to this point is gonna get the story. So go ahead. So what happened?
Um, so we're on our way to El Paso. So it's like a 12-hour drive, and the whole entire time I'm anxious. I am so like I am so like I'm so anxious and I'm nervous and just I couldn't even sleep on the drive either. But we finally get there. It's Friday morning and we get there and my mom calls my grandpa, papi, and to make sure because we were gonna go to Juarez for the
Yeah.
appointment. And she calls them and makes sure everything's set for Saturday, but she said, hey, we're here Friday, so do you
Yeah.
think we made it to Friday? And he's like, yeah, let me just make some phone calls. And so we end up making the appointment on Friday, which is like perfect because we're already here. We got there like around 6-7 in the morning. So we go home and I was still at this moment when we're here in El Paso, for the doctors. I am still, you could say, depressed. I'm still anxious. I still have those thoughts, and I am just carrying this load with me.
Wow.
I'm taking it out on Angel. I'm taking it out on my mom, on everyone else because I'm carrying this load. And I felt like I was dragging and dragging, and just my body was exhausted. So even in the shower as I was getting ready, I'm like, what for? Even my curls didn't come out the same. It was going right. I was like, my are good, and but so yeah, so we finally get ready, and I told Angel, oh, we're just gonna go to Juarez and and go to the appointment. And he's stayed there with my pues tia Nena and Angela.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my head, uh, I thought we were gonna, my mom told me, hey, before we go and cross the border, let's go to Tia Maria. They're gonna pray for us before we go. And in my head, I thought, okay, just a little, please God protect us, a prayer usually, and then we'll be on our way.
Absolutely.
Little did I know what God had in store for me because I was not expecting that at all. But so then we're in the parking lot of the church, we're ready, we go, we head out, we're in the parking lot. And my mom is like, okay, well, Tia Maria and her friends are gonna pray. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, this makeup that is gonna be gone. Like as soon as that. And I just knew, I don't know, like I just knew, I was like, okay, okay. So we go into the church, and we see you, and I'm like, oh yeah, and so and you gave us a tour, you gave us a tour, and a beautiful church, loved it. And so in my head, I thought we were going to go into like a separate room, since you said we were going to like pray. So I was like, okay, I was expecting to walk into like an office or something, but
Oh yeah, like a prayer room thing.
yes, like a prayer room. And and so when you gathered all of the sisters and the garden,
Yes.
when you gathered the garden, I was like, oh, well, it's going to be here. So I was kind of shocked. I was like, okay. So, we get to praying, and oh my gosh, as soon as everybody, all the sisters start praying, you feel God's presence in the room. You feel, and all my life I've definitely been more sensitive to all of that stuff. And I felt like, okay, this is something that I didn't ask for, but something that I needed.
Amen.
It was something that I didn't know I needed it so badly. So, but let me go and explain what happened. Um, so we start praying, and Pastor
Pastor Titi.
PT,
Pastor Titi. Pastor Tanaya. Yeah.
yes, she lays a hand on me, and I'm like, oh my God, God is with her, because I feel the presence. And she just starts saying things. She goes, that anxiety that you came with, you leave it, that stress that you came in, you need to leave it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know this woman. And and she's saying things that only I felt, that I didn't even express, not even to my mom, nobody. Because again, I'm the type of person to keep everything in until until it gets really bad. So she starts saying things, and I'm like, oh my God. And I just start breaking down, that I can't
Yeah.
stand anymore. And I have to get on my knees. I have to get on my knees, because I feel the just the presence so heavy. And so I'm crying, and I'm, the God is good. God is good. And the Holy Spirit is doing the work. And, and then I start crying, and again, I'm like in and out, I'm in and out. And I feel like uh definitely a deliverance was there. And then I remember clearly, I was like, I heard your voice. And so, and I remember you just went behind me, and all these hands on me, but you went behind me and you touched my back, and you said that the spirit of suicide, you need to leave now. You need to leave. As soon as you said that, I felt something from the back of my head leave.
Wow.
And I
Jesus.
was like, it was definitely there. When in my head, I didn't realize it was there. Like in my daily life, I didn't realize those thoughts were more than thoughts. And so as soon as you said that, I felt it from the back of my head, just leave.
Jesus.
And it was crazy. I want to put this point in here, because Caleb, I told my brother that, and Caleb is a person that likes to, you know, um, study everything. He likes to read between the lines. So he goes, he studied where schizophrenia starts and begins, and it's in the back of that head, in that same area. And so it
Wow.
was like, it's not a coincidence that you felt it from the back of your head leave. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh, I didn't know that.
sense. Yeah. And that's why I love telling Caleb everything, because he will be like, okay, well, hold on,
There's a science to it.
exactly. So, and that's where I felt it leave. Not here, not here. It specifically in that area, and it left. And so, um, and that's when I knew, I was like, I needed this deliverance. And when we were praying, and she kept on telling me things, and she was like, there were so many voices talking to me. There were so many people talking to me. And
Well, just let me stop a minute here and kind of explain, because we're praying for you, but because we're a group of women, and I'll one of us one was praying and she was praying something. When she's done, the other one is praying something. And then the other, it's not like we're all talking all over and it's
yeah,
disorganized. No, it's actually one, it's very, it flows really nice.
yeah.
Flows.
Like after one person would say something, the other would come in, and and it was all God. God was speaking through all of you guys, because there was things that no one knew. No one knew, and I needed to hear, that I needed to hear. And and I kept on hearing, "You're enough, you're enough, you're enough." And a lot of the times, like, especially as a new mother, you're like, am I doing enough? Am I good enough? Am I, and it's just all of those emotions just building and building and building. And it was just a burden left off, like a huge weight, like weight after weight, word after word. It just kept on falling off my shoulders, falling off of my head, falling off my body. And finally, at the end, I remember feeling someone was there, someone was definitely there. And it felt so, so strong, so strong. And it felt like it was an angel that was,
Amen.
it felt like it was an angel that was like, that was going to accompany me, because what, I'm sorry, I know I'm going on around here, but
No, go. This is absolutely what I wanted you to talk. This is exactly where we wanted to land. Go
yeah.
for it. You don't stop. This is
So
exactly what I wanted to talk about.
yeah, so I remember also Pastor Titi telling me, before I say what she said, me and Caleb, my brother, always have conversations. And I remember when I would tell him, I feel like in order for me to get to the next level with God, I feel like I need to leave this fear, because I have so much fear inside of me, fear of, because there's spiritual warfare going on. We all know that there's, things that we can
Absolutely.
feel. And I am someone that I feel like I get attacked a lot in my dreams at night. So every time I get into back into the things of the Lord, back into prayer, back into reading the Bible, I get attacked by those. I have sleep paralysis, and I'm like, oh, I want to, but then I'm scared, And I remember Pastor Titi saying, you can't let that fear control you. You need to leave that fear. You need to,
Wow.
and I remember when I felt that, I want to say it was an angel. I want to say it was an angel. And I felt confident. And I felt like that was God showing me that there's someone always going to be there. You're never, ever alone.
Amen.
Never. And it's like angels are around us all the time. And it's like I never really experienced that. And I never felt as confident as I ever did after, feeling that someone was there with me. So it was just insane. It was amazing. It was something that I didn't even know I needed, because I was so stuck in that mindset that my mom had to drag me all the way to El Paso to deliver, for God to deliver me. But I mean, it was crazy. And I go back to, and we finally go to Juarez, so when we're done praying, I feel his presence. And I remember when we were done praying, I remember hearing, it is done. It is done.
Oh, yeah.
It is done. And I remember that very clearly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's I don't know, it leaves me speechless till this day. It leaves me speechless. That's, all I can say is what happened, you know.
So what happens? So you go to Juarez, and even then, you got some of the answers that you were needing, like even better care. Some of the answers that you were needing. I remember we found a good doctor, and she helped you, and it was good with that. What happens when you get back home? What changed when you got home?
Oh my gosh. When I got back home, I felt like, in a way, it was crazy, because I felt confident. in God, in the word, and in his spirit. I felt confident. I also felt beautiful
Oh, that's wonderful.
because this whole time after postpartum, since I got pregnant, I'm like, oh, you look at yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't like to say. But now I see even myself in a different light. You no matter the circumstance, obviously, the body's changed and everything. We all evolve, but
Yeah.
the thing that surprises me the most is I had a certain mindset for so long after postpartum, those months, those hard months, and to see myself in a different light, like, oh my gosh, you know what? I am beautiful. Not only outside, I'm looking in the inside. And
Yes.
and I'm like, God made us a certain way, and that Proverbs or Psalms, it's really how God sees us, and I just remember feeling beautiful for the first time in a long time, in a very long time. And I felt confident, and I felt ready to go back to church.
Yes, wonderful.
I need, because how I felt was I just got delivered and this is empty right now, and I
Yes.
need to fill it. So I remember just reading the word and just filling myself, and praying, because I don't ever want to feel like that ever again. I don't even want the enemy to have a chance to do that again. We all fall short, but the thing is, I've been delivered, and I can, say confidently that I have the light back, So, oh my gosh. And I found, and it was crazy because there's a little invitation that I had kept with me months ago, even before I got pregnant. Months ago.
Really? Almost a year ago?
Uh-huh. An invitation from a church. And it was in a restaurant that we went to in Fort Lupton.
Oh.
Remember, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try that church out, because I came back, I'm like, I want to go to church now, because no one told me to go to church. I felt in my spirit, I was like, you know what, I want to go back into church. And I was like, you know what, let's try this church, and it's 8 minutes away from my house.
8 minutes away. Oh
It's
my God. Because
so,
you live in a secluded area, girl.
oh
You
yeah.
live over there donde da vuelta el aire. Allá vives tú.
Oh my gosh, I know, it's like so far away from everything. So the fact that it was 8 minutes away,
Wow.
and I've been going there for a couple of weeks now. And all I can say is God, God is there in that church. And it's like he had that church waiting for me.
Wow, that's crazy. Look at
And
God.
yeah. So, and yeah, I presenté a Angela at the
You
church, and
did.
I did, and just it's God is good. God is really good.
Well, before we close, before we land this plane, like I always say, let's land the plane. And I want you to give your final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a young woman your age going through the same thing you were going through, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to talk to her. What would you tell her? What would you tell that girl that's going through postpartum depression? What would you tell to that girl that just had a baby and everything's not going right? What would you tell her?
That there's hope. There is hope. Not only hope, but there's hope in God. That no one will ever understand you. No one, only God. So who better to go to than to him? Because although my mom dragged me out of that hole that I was in, God delivered me, from the inside. So there is hope, and that you're not alone. You're never ever ever alone. And there's God is always going to be there, and I can't say it enough, that God understands you more than you understand yourself. So, and he understand the pain that you went through, because you tell other people who have had kids, but they're not in your specific shoes. They're not there. So, yeah, all I can say is that there's hope, and not to give up. because I was to the point where I was gonna, give up, and I was gonna end it right there. But never ever give up. Never give up, because you also have a baby that depends on you, not only that, but and who knows, your there they can be a story for another person in their shoes, but yeah, I would say that there's hope. There's hope. When you think that there is no light at the end of the tunnel, there, trust me, there is a bright bright light. Yeah.
So it's good. So it's good to go and seek help.
Yes, seek help. Don't be afraid. Don't bottle everything in like I did, because it brought me to that point. But as soon as you feel, you're not yourself, go seek help, no matter who it is, or just seek help, because God also uses other people too. So, yeah. Yeah.
Maya, thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's
Yes.
always a pleasure for us to talk together, and I pray that whoever's listening to this will just share this live. We're gonna leave it. It's gonna be on YouTube, but so if you have YouTube, I will put the link here so you can follow me and subscribe, and share this live. Share this video with somebody that you know might help them go through what they're going through, because there is hope. There is hope, even if you think there's not. There's hope. So talk to somebody. There's always great people around you. Ask, and they're there,
Hmm.
just at your church, at different places. There is help available. So thank you so much for everybody listening and commenting and being there and clicking like, and thank you, Maya. I love you, mwah, so much. Thank you so much. So don't log off, because I got some more talking to do with you about some other stuff. But thank you, everybody, and we will be here next week with some more recordings and some more podcasts. Thank you so much. You have a great night.